Welcome back. It's been a while since we've done an episode of Buckle Up with Bill. In this episode, the tables are taking an interesting turn, and I'm interviewed by the gatekeeper in the hospital administration, that's Kim Thorman, and also with a special guest, my daughter, Ashlyn Murdock, to help the community better understand the hospital, services, and technology and why the podcast was created. My son Noah does an intro with insights of growing up with the adventures of his father. We will explain the name Buckle Up with Bill as a nod to constant change in healthcare. We will discuss family sacrifices, vacations, leadership values, decision making, and a few of my personal quirks like fun socks, music, retirement goals. And I should give you a heads up, you will see some hats worn during this interview, not just by me, but by others. So buckle up and let's go.
Buckle up with Bill, take a ride, take a spin, where the stories start and the truth digs in. From the front porch talk to the hospital hall, he's asking the questions that matter to us all.
So we just wanted to get a little, he wouldn't let us contact anybody from his previous colleagues. We're like, who can we call and interview?
Sure.
So I was like, you don't let anybody else choose when you're going to interview them who you talk to. But I guess since it is Buckle Up with Bill, we'll have to just follow his rules. So he suggested you. And so we just want to get a little bit of, usually he asks the connected, the person, the friend or whoever or colleague, ask them to think of something that we should ask Bill that people may not know that you think people should know about him.
Okay, so just kind of go into it, I guess.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
share.
Okay, well, sure. I think it's important for people to know that there's a lot more to my dad than being just the guy that's in charge and sits behind the bid desk and all that stuff. He comes from a very blue collar background. I mean, he did a lot of welding when he was younger. Did a lot of
Welding, really?
Yep. He had stuff in manufacturing. His dad, or my grandpa, was a lifetime coal miner who worked incredibly hard his whole life, and my dad's ran all sorts of heavy equipment, and he used to work at Bob Evans at a packing plant close to home. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, he actually one of the questions you can ask him is he was helping a farmer one time, and he had the truck he was driving catch on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it caught on fire. I think a mouse had ate like an oil line or something like that,
Oh my gosh.
and it caught the whole truck on fire. So that's a good story. He used to drive snowmobiles to school in the wintertime. Yeah, he was
Too funny.
yeah. So anyway, I've always liked his blue collar background and all that stuff, and working at Bob Evans.
Yeah,
But
that's hard work, and that's something that's important for people. I think with hard work, people tend to build a sense of grit, and resilience and ability to kind of take on whatever comes their way, which he is faced with a lot of that these days.
yeah, yep, yeah, and he also used to own an apartment complex over in Alexis. So a lot of my childhood, we go over there on the weekend to mow the yard, and he's incredibly handy. I mean, I doing plumbing projects over there. Um, always something going on over there. He was working on, and um, he a good question to ask him would be what was worse, replacing the roof on his house in Pawnee, or digging up the his old septic tank at at the old. Um, they were both, from what I understand, pretty miserable jobs, but he took them on himself with a couple of friends to help, and he's a real go getter. And 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 speaking of what I call the Olson house, it's an old farmhouse we used to live in growing up, and there were 6 of us, and there was only one bathroom,
Oh
and
my gosh.
no idea how in the world we managed it, but we did it. I guess that's all we knew at the time. But always fighting for hot water, I suppose.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
For sure.
yep, yeah, those are some of the stories, and I think it's also important that, you know, to a lot of people, my dad is the boss or the president or, you know, whatever. They just see him not a whole lot deeper than that. But to me, he's not only my dad, he was my baseball coach growing
Yeah.
up. He was my basketball coach. He was my um you know, he was my pretty much my math tutor. I wasn't very good at math, but luckily he was pretty good. He was my math tutor. He all sorts of sporting events. He could not have been any more supportive of a dad. And you know, there's 4 of us kids, and he didn't slack off any one of us. I mean,
Yeah.
he was so supportive and so good, and he still is very, very nice. And still continues that to this day, all the support. And you know, there was a time he worked, I think it was about 5 years up in the Chicago area, where he would leave on Sunday night, and we wouldn't see him until the next Friday night. I mean, granted, we talked to him like
Sure.
through FaceTime or whatever, but you know, I was in high school at that time, and at the time, you know, I don't really grasp, of course, being a parent or anything like that. But I think that was a lot harder on him than he ever let on.
Oh, I'm
Than
sure.
all that time away from us, and being in his apartment by himself at night, and
Hmm.
you know, and so and that, of course, wasn't that wasn't for him.
Right. Right.
That was for us kids
Yes.
um, to provide for us and to get the experience.
Right.
And so I, you know, the older I get, I'm not a parent or anything, but I know that I know it was very, very hard on him, but he never let any of that show. He was
Sure.
a great supportive dad and still is. And so I think it's important, the sacrifices that, you
Yeah.
know, growing up, my dad made to get to the position that he is now.
Sure. Sure.
And I don't ever want that to go unrecognized. I know
Sure.
I know he's always under a lot of criticism. I mean,
Hmm.
everyone criticizes the boss,
Sure.
but I just wish that people would understand, you know, what all he's gone through his whole life
to get here.
Yeah.
to get here. And
Yeah.
from what I understand, he never at the time, but um, he worked for some really, really difficult bosses.
Yeah.
Very, very, very difficult. And I never realized it at the time. He
Mhm.
never brought his work home. He was never he could always flip a switch when he got home, and he would be a
Yeah.
great supportive dad. And I've always really admired that about him. But yeah, he worked for some very, very difficult people. And I think that's what makes him such a great boss and person.
Yeah.
So I think, and you know, that's just stories I've heard, you know, years later. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that was a terrible time
Right.
in my
But it wasn't
You
anything
you didn't realize
that
it
you
was a terrible
realized at the time. Yeah.
had a clue.
Yeah.
Never. Um. So he's. I mean, the type of person it takes to do that is just amazing. I mean, I know it's hard for me not to take my work home.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
I actually had a conversation with him. I just switched roles at the hospital a few weeks ago, and I had a conversation with him about the importance to me of not taking work home because the person who I was replacing did have a tendency to work from home a lot. And I said, that's just not the kind of, I have two young kids. I'm just not in that spot in my life. And he was like, well, I never want you to do that. He was like, it would never be an expectation of mine that in order to get your job done, you felt like you had to do it from home. I want you to go home and be present with your family. And I think that that's just, I mean, everything that you're saying just points to him as a leader being that kind of,
Yeah.
having that kind of mentality, like in his home life, and he wants that to spill over into the employee's home life as well.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And, I mean, he's not only to say this, I mean, he's not only a great dad, a great friend, he's a great role model. I
Yeah.
mean, not me, for all my siblings, for a lot of my friends and family. I mean, it just goes to, I don't know. He's just an awesome role model. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And I know he's very understanding, and he does. I've never seen him do anything rash or without thinking about it, or
Right.
he's pretty. He always has his reasons for whatever his actions are, but
Yeah.
you know, it's always awesome that I can just call up my dad. During the winter, we do a lot of coyote hunting and stuff like that, and he really enjoys the outdoors. I can just call him up and say, "You want to go?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sure, let's do it." So then, you know, he's always down to hang out with his kids, and
Yeah.
now grandkids.
Right.
No, he's
Yeah.
just there's just so much more to the guy that just sits behind the desk, I guess. So
That's so true. Well, I have one little, so this summer, I found out another little fun fact about Bill Murdock. I came to work and there were peaches on my desk,
mhm.
and he told me that he had all these peach trees, and that at one time he was thinking about like selling peaches, like the peach guy on the roadside. Like he was gonna have like a roadside stand, and he said he used to do farmers markets, and then it just got to be too much. But like I would have never in a
Right.
million years known that that was something that he was into. But
Yep.
again with the outdoorsy, I was as I was kind of preparing myself for his interview today, I pulled up his PowerPoint presentation when he first took over this role, and everything you are saying really lines up with um, what he expressed were his qualities. And there are things that a lot of people say, but to be able to hear and as closely as I work with him and I see it, and also to hear you say it, like he does line up with it. The family faith work being at the top of his list of priorities. And second is he's outdoorsy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also um, mentioned that he's a servant leader, and I certainly see that in him. His ability to put his thinking of others, his ability to have empathy, a lot of qualities that you don't necessarily see with a finance person. Not no offense to like people who are really good with money, but usually they're more
Like compartmentalized.
and they're more like comfortable just managing books and not dealing with a lot of people. And so much of his role now is dealing with people. And even though he said in the beginning like that wasn't really his forte, he was going to have to get used to it. Like it totally is his forte. Like and I think all of those things that he's done along the way, especially being a very present parent, and such a great role model as a dad, really prepared him for this role. And, because when you're a boss, you are kind of not necessarily dealing with a lot of children, but you are kind of the steward over like an organization, and he's definitely shows those
Mhm.
kind of qualities in his day in, day out work that come from definitely his background and his role as a parent.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like he's a lot different than some of the people that he's worked for. And
Absolutely.
I think working for those people that were very like micromanaging, all these unrealistic expectations. I think that has made him realize that's not who I want to be.
Right.
So I don't know. I just feel like MDH should feel like they're very, very fortunate to have my dad as a leader, at least from my perspective. So
I agree.
I agree too.
I agree 100%. We are very fortunate, and to have somebody who has that kind of work ethic and those kind of values leading this organization. It's really important. And I can't just close without mentioning the hats because we're wearing hats because that's something that we definitely noticed about your dad. He's kind of obsessed with hats. Like he has a hat
For everything.
everything. Like
Yep.
This is his podcast interviewer hat. I stole it out of his desk, out of his office. And I'm going to wear it during his interview, and I'm not going to let him wear a hat during the interview.
not gonna
And
like
this one is just like his decoration in his office.
sure.
Yeah, so
So that's why we asked you to wear a hat.
that's why we asked you to wear a hat, because he does seem to love a hat, and he's always prepared with whether he's just like walking out of an Irish pub with that hat, or he's wearing his
Sorry.
that,
So I'm sitting in the Dollar General parking lot and a delivery truck just showed up and I have to move.
oh
All right.
it's real life.
All right.
But
All
yeah,
right.
the hats are just kind of a
Part of him.
part of him, and that's the other part that just makes him really fun to be around too, is like all those
little quirks.
those little things that
Yeah. He's got some little quirks and stuff like that, but he's great.
Yeah, great guy. Well, thank you so much for taking time with us, Noah, and we're thanks for giving us a couple of really good questions to ask him.
Sure.
And to me, it sounds like instead of CEO shadowing in the facilities, he could probably just fill in.
Right.
Like if they're ever short a day of
Like an
somebody that
engineer
needs
or...
to
Yeah.
like unclog toilets and and it just we know everybody's gonna know who to call on.
Yeah. He could do it. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, you have a great day, and thanks a lot.
Sounds great. Yep.
Thanks.
You guys have a good day as well.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Welcome to today's episode of Buckle Up with Bill, or maybe we should call it Buckle Up, Bill. Because today Ashlyn and I are taking the reins and we're going to interview you. And I've got my podcast hat on, and Ashlyn's got her hat. So before we get started, I think first off, it might be nice for you to tell us a little bit about my role here and why you decided to have your favorite daughter, I'm pretty sure she's your favorite child, be involved in this interview. So go ahead.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me. This has been a long time coming, and when I was thinking about this, I thought, who's going to ask the questions that they needed, right? So Kim, you're on the business side. We work a lot together, obviously every day. You know some of my quirks and things like that. So I thought, well, that'd be important. And then on the personal side, of course, we have our daughter Ashlyn here. I thought, our favorite daughter, Ashlyn. She's a communications major, so I thought, well, this would be a great fit for all of us.
Sure.
Plus, you two kind of look alike too, so that makes it that much better. So.
Yeah, well, good. Well, so I guess we'll just dive right on in, and maybe people are curious to know why you decided to start a podcast, and where did the idea of Buckle Up with Bill come from?
Oh, that's a great question. So we're doing a lot of connecting and reconnecting with the community. A lot of the community don't know our providers or a lot about the insides of the walls of the hospital, the technology that we provide and all that. And one day in Ops Council, we just kind of thought about maybe this would be another avenue to get our message out to the community, is start a podcast. That way the community gets to know the providers, and they get to know what's going on in the hospital. Like I said, the technology, the skill sets that are here are just wonderful. And I don't think the community realizes the benefit that the hospital brings to this area and the services that we provide. We can provide a lot of the same services that the bigger hospitals, and we can do it better because of the customer service that our staff provides.
Right. It's hard to go anywhere within the walls of this hospital that people don't have a connection to someone that's a patient, or just as you're walking through the halls, you run into people, and we know people by name, and it is nice. We have that community, that small town touch, but we do have a lot of great technology here. And we also, this hospital has been here for so many years, and sometimes when things are familiar, people can tend to take it for granted. But so I appreciate that you're doing this podcast and kind of letting people into the walls here and to see what things are all about. But the name of it, so Buckle Up with Bill. It does seem to me, and maybe I feel like Ashlyn might agree, that you do like to use like that. I'm not sure what is the word for it. Iteration with the B, like Buckle Up with Bill. I'm thinking like Bill's Backyard Bash, Billapalooza. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about the name.
So the name, obviously, is my name. So we got, and it's all about me. It's all about me, right? So no, it just kind of tie in my name. I don't know. I spend a lot of time on the road driving and all that.
Sure.
And in healthcare, the terminology now is buckle up, because we're always changing. Everything is a challenge right now. And then the more I thought about it, the podcast and everything, I thought, well, there we go, buckle up with Bill, and
that's right.
See where it goes. And it's kind of memorable, right?
Yes,
I
mean,
it is. Easily can remember that. Plus, Kim, you created a
yes,
whatever,
the artwork for it,
or the artwork,
graphic.
the song, and
Yeah,
it's really kind of flourished since we've taken off here.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I want to go back to something that you said about your commute. So, you do have a commute, you do have a drive here, but if you tell us a little bit about your work history and your path getting to Macomb. Right now you have one of the shortest commutes you've probably had for most of your working career. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of where you started and how you got to McDonough District?
Sure. So I've always commuted in all my jobs, wherever I was, whether I was up in Chicago, whether I was in Iowa or whatever. I always commuted. When I first got here in Macomb, I lived right next door, which is great. I could watch the hospital, see them come and go. But I need that separation too. And right now I have about an hour commute from my home outside of Galesburg, or our home, I guess, outside of Galesburg. But it gives me time to decompress at the end of the day, and then on my drive in, I can get prepared and start planning my day. It's really that space I need to have by myself to get my day formulated and ready to roll.
It's kind of like when the doctors go in or the surgeons go into surgery and they have to scrub up and they go in there and they get everything done. And there's that that leaving and that taking off the scrubs and getting a chance to walk away and job well done, accomplishment, and so you have that time while you're driving home to process the day and then be able to give as a dad, as a husband, once you get home to your family. And so, I'm sure there were years Ashlyn and I talked about, and also we talked to your son Noah too, talked about a lot of that childhood, the time growing up, that you were always a very present father, even when you were away from home and when you were working, and had that distance between you, that you were always very present. So I'm gonna let Ashlyn kind of segue into that a little bit about her life growing up and some of the questions that she has for you about your career.
Yeah. So where should we start? I guess we can start with your childhood and how you grew up. So I guess what was your childhood like growing up on a farm?
Right. So grew up on a farm outside of Oneida, which is outside of Galesburg area, family farm. My brother lives there today. So we were on the farm. I started working for the neighbor as a farmer when I was about 12 years old. We started baling straw and hay and all that back then. My brother, he also worked for that farmer. So not every night after school, but on the weekends I would go work for that farmer, and my brother would too, and raised a lot of pigs and hogs and all that. So my work life started fairly early, but also played sports in school, football, basketball, track at that time. I did a lot of hunting and fishing on the Spoon River growing up doing that, so that was very memorable. And so I had an older sister and a younger brother that I grew up with. My dad was a coal miner, and my mom worked in the banking business. And my dad, he would work all day, and he'd work 6 and 7 days a week. And then when he got home, we always farmed what ground he had, so we were always there. We wouldn't want to be caught inside watching TV when Dad got home, because we were supposed to be outside doing stuff. So anyway, that was kind of my life, I guess, growing up.
Yeah.
So
And it kind of set the foundation of my work ethic, and just that always be doing something, trying to be productive and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, you went to high school, and then what after that? What happened after high school?
Yeah, so after high school, my dad was a welder at the coal mine when he was there. I thought that's what I wanted to do, so I started out at Sandburg College as a welder.
So wait, you were a welder?
Yeah.
Like you welded with
metal
the thing
together, had the hood. And
We're learning together. I did not know this.
Wow.
So I went to school at night, and then I was working on a grain elevator as well during the day, and trying to go to school, and it just got to be too much. And
Sure.
finally ended up working at Bob Evans. There was a sausage plant outside of Galva, and I went up there. So I was on the what they call the brown and serve line. It's just these small smoky links that come out, and I stand there all day just kind of putting them in these.
So how do you feel about sausage now?
Yeah, it's a little different, because they did the whole process. They killed all the way to processing, all the way to packaging right there.
Right
so,
there at that plant.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
did that for a few years, and realized that that's not what I wanted to do for my career. So ended up moving to Texas, because at that time, that would have been the early 80s. Things were kind of hopping there. There wasn't a whole lot going on here. Moved there for a while, for about 5 years, and then things just weren't working out, and my parents said, "Why don't you come back here?" So I did.
Turned out to be a good decision.
It was, and then I was still trying to figure out my life and all that, and I wanted to go into the Army. I wanted to be an Army Ranger and chase Noriega around South America and all that. And my dad, he really kind of He didn't want me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to help him, or to, you're always trying to please your parents.
Sure.
Right? So,
Sure.
So they said,
I mean,
yeah.
Ashlyn can relate.
Yeah. And at that time they were living south of Macomb. Dad was working at a coal mine down here, and I was living with them. And they said, "Well, why don't you try going to Western? Give it a shot." And by then I was in my late 20s, I suppose, at some time, or in that era. So I said, okay, you want to please your parents, so went back to school. It worked out well. Actually, I was a better student then than I was when I first got out of high school. When you're older, non-traditional, you're more committed, more wanting to get it done, get out of school, and get on with your life. Met up with an old friend who was basically doing the same thing. He was in accounting. I was going to go into finance at that time, and then he's the one that was kind of really my mentor. That I went into accounting at Western, and so I took that path. Fortunately, I worked out. In the meantime, met your mom. We got married a couple of years.
Can I pause right there? Did you realize at the time that you were really marrying up? Like you really,
no.
Married up.
She's really fantastic. She is. And I mean, and has raised this beautiful daughter.
Oh, thanks.
And you have your kids are, I've met all your kids, they're really great. And so I just had to throw that in. Like, I didn't know if you saw from then that like she was going to be such a great match for you.
Well, I have to give her a lot of credit. When I was after I got through college, and then I started my career as auditors and working through hospital systems. We located where we are today and built a house. At that time we had, well, I guess we had all four of our kids at that time, but the house was
Oh yeah, tell us a little bit about that house. Noah actually mentioned that house, and how many bathrooms did it have?
It had one bathroom.
6 people?
Yeah, one bathroom downstairs. All the bedrooms are upstairs, and the stairs going down are like this steep, so a lot of people fell down those stairs. But anyway, when I moved around a lot of my career, but Angie and the kids stayed at this house. That was our home base, basically. Our oldest kids were starting school at that time, and we didn't really want to take them out of school just to follow me around. So I would, whether I was working in Chicago or wherever, Angie and the kids basically maintained the household during the week, and then I'd come home and I could be the favorite dad.
Yeah, it'd be like busy when you came home,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't have to discipline her because I was only there 1 or 2 days a week. And so eventually, before I got here, I was in Iowa, and then that role was eliminated because they were regionalizing CFO positions and all that. And then this opportunity opened up. Angie's uncle gave me the heads up that, hey, they're looking for a CFO here. Would you be interested? I thought, well, this is great. This is where your mom was born here. My in-laws live here in Macomb. Angie's aunt and uncle were still here. And plus, I still had a lot of connections from my parents living here and all that. And I'm kind of getting on the sunset of my career. And I thought, well, this is great. Probably a great opportunity to still be close to home and don't have to pick up and do all that. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, that's it. As you describe it, you've almost had like 3 acts. Like, like you've had the first act of your hard work, labor, work on a farm, welder, worked in a processing plant, developing that really strong work ethic. Your second act was doing making a lot of sacrifices for your family, to put yourself in a better position to have that third act to where then you'll be able to retire and really enjoy what you've built
Yeah.
and what you've built in your career, and also the lessons that you've taught your kids along the way of that work-life balance. And that's another thing that I wanted to mention, because Noah, when we talked to Noah, he really attested to the fact that he always felt that you left your work at work. You were always good at being present when you were there. And even though you weren't there through the week, a lot of parents do bring home their work. They bring home their work, and they're still talking about it. They're still working on it while they're raising their kids. And you really, while you weren't there during the week, you really gave your kids that gift of being present while you were home. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
really, it really speaks to the fact that your leadership style is very servant like. You are in one of your first PowerPoint presentations when you took this role, that was one of the ways that you defined yourself, that family, faith, work. You were outdoorsy, and you were a servant leader, and you can definitely see how that was built along the way.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Kind of to Noah's comment there, I can still remember we were on vacation somewhere, and back then we had the old BlackBerry phones. I don't know if you
Sure.
remember those.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like,
Oh, yeah.
like this
Yeah.
and all that, and I was answering an email and. Sorry.
Well, no, this
I can still remember Noah looking at me and saying, "Dad, why are you doing that?" So.
yeah,
It made me realize it's their time, right?
Right.
So that's always stuck with me. That was, oh my gosh, that was 20 years ago anyway, that I learned that lesson. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I don't deny that. I have a lot of regret, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Family's number one. That's why we're here today. Now,
that's right.
now, we have grandkids, so I feel like, I'm working for them now
That's
too.
right.
Right. So
Sure.
anyway, but
Yeah.
sorry about all that.
Yeah. No, that's okay. That's another thing that I think people, another thing Noah said was that there's a lot more to you than just leading this organization. And so that's what we're here for, and to hear about that. And it's important that people understand that empathetic side of you too, because you're in a position where you have to make very difficult decisions, and knowing that it's not easy. You think through, you take time, you evaluate, you're fair, and that is just part of who you are.
Mhm.
And I think that's important too for people to know.
Yeah, and I think, you can relate to this. You're right. We do make hard decisions, and we take those home with us at
Sure,
times too.
sure.
We've made a lot of changes here, and
Yeah.
we have to be courageous in what we do.
Yep.
But I think people need to know we're doing what is best for this organization
Right.
and for the future viability and sustainability of
Right.
the organization.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, they can't see that side of the
Yeah.
business, that
Right.
we have to make those
When you're
decisions.
in it.
But it's a horrible toll
Yeah,
on us.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that is for sure. So let's, do you have another question?
Yes, I have a couple. I guess you kind of touched on family vacation, but what's your favorite family vacation?
Favorite family? We've taken a lot of family vacations. So
Yeah.
when the kids were growing up, we had a travel trailer that we pulled around. We packed all 6 of them in that thing. We didn't have the means to, pay for all hotels for everybody
Sure.
and food and all that. So we'd pack up the camper. I think those are, I can't pinpoint one. I think they're my fondest memories of the
Sure.
family,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Just everybody being close together and camping. Everybody, it was I don't know, it was like a NASCAR team. We pull up into a campsite, and everybody had their duties. Somebody get the jacks down and the awning out, and it was really a well-coordinated effort by everybody. But it was a lot of fun. We went to a lot of great places too. You know, we went to the beaches out west. We went to Yellowstone. We pulled the camper out there. You know, it was we drug that camper just about everywhere you can think of. But it's been a great memory for me.
Yeah. Well, we had an old camper, and then we upgraded to a better camper, and I get my own bed in the new camper, so it's great.
That's great.
Yeah, we were all stacked up in
we were.
that other old camper, I guess.
Like sardines.
Yeah, but it's good.
Yeah. Where do you want to go next?
On vacation
Yeah,
or
family
wherever.
vacation.
Oh, family vacation?
Yeah.
You know, I've always, I'm not, you know, I'd like to go to Alaska at some point with the family, and then, you know, someday after I retire, I'd love to do an African safari with the family as well.
That'd be cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, I've always had Australia on my bucket list too, but I don't know, it seems like a long ways away, but we'll see. So, gotta think big, right? You know, I mean, Ashlyn, you've been in a lot of spots, so we live vicariously through our kids now. Where they go, it's like, well, that's great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know what else to ask.
Well, another thing came to mind when I was talking about your PowerPoint presentation, and you know that was mostly directors that were in that meeting. So a lot of people didn't take part of it. But did you know that for those that were in that meeting, do you know what stole the show of that meeting? Your socks.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. People noticed your socks.
Right.
And you always wear like some fun socks.
Right.
That's kind of a little thing. And you're also a big hat guy.
Oh, yeah, right.
And you sort of have a hat for just about any occasion.
I try to.
Like,
right?
it could be a ball cap. It could be
Cowboy hat.
Cowboy hat.
Right.
You're just walked out of the Irish pub.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You've got that hat. So did you start out like, was there a time when you just decided, I really like hats, or where'd that come from?
Well, I think that, you know, when you're on the farm, you always wore a hat,
sure,
right?
sure.
Keep the sun out of your eyes, so it's just probably kept that tradition.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't walk out of the house unless you had a hat on, or you had to go outside or do whatever. So that's
kind of where it came from, and then you just kept it going.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing that I thought about that most people may not know about you, except they're learning now with your podcast because you ask questions about music, but you really are a lover of music, and you like kind of a variety of things. Tell us a little bit about your music interests, and did you have any like musical background? Did you ever play an instrument?
I am horrible. I'm a horrible instrument player, and that's why I probably have such appreciation for music, because I am absolutely horrible.
So you have had the experience of trying to play an instrument.
Oh, my mom thought I needed to play the piano, you know, and I took piano lessons, and I just, it was just not me. She said, oh, you got these long fingers, it's just beautiful. Okay, so it's, you know, you're trying to please your mom, and then it's like, okay, after a while, it's like, Mom, I'm not getting this, and
I'm not good at it. Did you ever play in the school band or anything like that?
I played the trombone for a while, you know, and that's an easy way, just slide it up and down, you can do all that.
I'm sure it's real easy.
Yeah, I'm a horrible singer, and but I do have a great appreciation for live music and the talent that's out there, and how hard, I mean, you don't understand, or I don't think people realize how much they have to practice and work at it. I mean, they make it look so easy, then you're like, well, I can pick this up and do the same thing, and it's like, oh, geez, I'm way off here, you know, I'm not able to get it, you know. I do try to play the harmonica once in a while.
Oh, God.
Actually, I have it in my car right now.
He travels with it.
You know,
Do you like play it while you're
Yeah.
driving?
I try,
Oh, do you?
between snacks, you know. That's my time.
One
right?
hand with popcorn, other playing harmonica.
Right. Try to get.
He's got
you know,
YouTube up on
Yeah,
the
YouTube on the dash, playing harmonica, hand in popcorn.
Yeah, well, I think I've told you this, Kim. One of my favorite songs is "Whammer Jammer" by Jay Giles Band, and it's a great harmonica song. And I'm trying to get like 3 notes of it, and I can't even do that.
Well,
So.
you know, perseverance.
Yeah.
Just keep up with it.
Yeah.
It's just you and the road
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the car. As long as you don't lose your
Yeah.
sights on the road,
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just practice up that
I'll
harmonica.
keep trying. I don't know where I'll end up there, but we'll see.
Oh my God.
Well, you're kind of a dichotomy in some ways too, because of the finance background. Typically, you know, finance people are very to the books. You know, you're working in the books. You're working on paper or on a screen. You're not doing a lot of interaction with people.
Mm-hmm.
And this role you've really evolved into having. And again, I go back to that PowerPoint because one of the things that you mentioned you disliked is drama. And that's a very typical, I feel like a very typical answer for someone who's in finance, because it's very black and white and there's not a lot of emotion in numbers.
Yeah.
You know, it's just there's emotion when there aren't the good numbers, but
Right.
but it's black and white. And you've evolved now into this leadership of an organization, you know, the president and the CEO of this organization, and you now are faced with, you know, you deal with people. And so one of the things that I was thinking about for a bullseye question,
No.
for Bill's bullseye, was if we could put a sign on your door like the doctor is in, like the Peanuts cartoon,
Right.
what would you say the majority of your day looks like? I mean, I know because I'm outside the door, but what kind of things, is it mostly people that you're dealing with all day? What does a typical day look like for you?
I don't think there is a typical day. I mean, every day, and what kind of drives me and gives me energy, I don't know what my day looks like, but I kind of let it shape myself. You're right, you know, you're kind of the buffer, people coming in my door and all that, but there are a lot of people that come through this door. A lot of times I don't have the answers, but I'm there to listen to them and see what we can solve together and do all that. You're right, you know, growing up in accounting, I never thought I would evolve into this role where,
Sure.
you know, I'm more of I'm on the side of an introvert. I don't need to be in the spotlight and all that. I'm fine staying out of the spotlight. And I've been doing that for over 30 years.
Sure.
And when this opportunity came along, you know, I think you and we had some conversations if this made sense and all that. And the timing was right?
Right. Right.
It did re-energize me, gave me a new sense of purpose in the organization. I think we're doing a lot of great things.
Yes.
And you keep bringing up that PowerPoint. I don't know what it was, like day 3 or 4, I was into this role and we did that PowerPoint. And one of the reasons I did it is that our team needed to know who I am so they could start trusting. I needed to start building trust so they can understand why we make the decisions that we do.
Sure.
And kind of give them a glimpse of how I work, how I process things and stuff like that.
Sure.
And, you're right. There's things I don't deal well with, you know, like drama. Or, you know, a lot of people bring me a lot of problems, but they don't bring a recommendation or a solution. And that just drives me nuts sometimes. Like, I'm supposed to have all the answers and I don't.
Right.
I've been in this business long enough and smart enough to know I'm not the smartest person here, but I can get the answer, or I know somebody that can get it or help me out there. So.
Well, I think that does really go a long way, though. Sometimes people aren't looking for an answer. They may feel they're looking for an answer, and they come in and have a problem. But sometimes they just want you to know about it, you know? And sometimes they just want to be heard, and they would like to be validated. And I feel that you do a good job of listening and having that open door policy, and also the empathetic spirit that you have. You're able to listen and feel that, you know, and that's a great quality. Another thing that Noah mentioned was that over the years you were in some tough work situations, you know, and I'm sure that through those years you built kind of just like as parents, we think, oh, I'm not going to do that with my kids, you know, or and some things you take away and you do a little different, and some things you recognize, okay, now I understand why it was that way, but having all of those different experiences and being able to build them along the way has really set MDH up at this point in time in a very, very good place, I think.
Well, I think you're right. I've made all the mistakes, so I've learned from that, right? So hopefully I don't keep doing that. But yeah, you're right. You know, there's experience that you gain along the way of the do's and don'ts and all that. And I think too, you know, when people come in here too, you mentioned about just listening to them. I think a lot of times they want my support or understand their position, and I'm fine with that, and I'll support them if I can follow what they're saying and it makes sense to do that. So because I like that collaboration, and it helps me understand how to operate the organization.
Yeah, I like that. Well, there were 2 questions that Noah suggested that we ask you. And one was about, I think it was a truck that caught on fire.
Did it tip over? Are you talking about the truck that tipped over? Your semi that tipped over?
Oh.
Is it that one, or did it catch on fire?
That I tipped over?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when I was working at the grain elevator. It tipped over. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. So I was probably, I don't know, I was probably 18 or 19 years old. I was working for this grain elevator, and I was the outside guy. I was moving grain and all that kind of stuff. And we had this truck that we'd go out on a farm, pick up grain, and take it back to the elevator or whatever. And I was doing that one day, and you know how, Kim, you can relate to this. You know how farmers are. They say like go to the T in the road and go by the cattle lot, and then so I picked up this load of beans, and I got out in this country trying to figure out how to get back, and I could not figure it out. And so I come up on a hill, and there's a T, and I'm fully loaded.
Oh, gee.
And I get to that T, and of course I got to stop. Well, I can't get started because I'm on that. So I killed the truck died, right?
Oh, no.
And when that happens, at that time it had like hydraulic brakes, so then you lose brakes and all that. So I'm sitting in here in this truck, and I'm looking around like, okay, what am I going to do now? Well, pretty soon the truck started rolling backwards, and I'm going backwards down this hill. I don't have any power steering or anything. Anyway, ended up going backwards in this ditch, and it stopped. And I thought, oh, this is great. You know, I'm just sitting here. I'm going to be okay. Pretty soon I started going like this. The whole truck.
Oh, my gosh.
It just sunk down on that side, and the whole truck tipped over and everything. And I don't remember how I notified the grain elevator, but I can remember the farmer who I went up and picked up his grain. He said, what the hell were you thinking? Well, I don't know. I got this killed. I thought I was going to the right spot. So anyway, but yeah.
Well, the other thing, he talked a little bit about just the variety of things that he's learned from you, like when you owned an apartment complex.
Oh, yeah.
And you would take him sometimes to help with those things, and he asked if you would rather repair a roof or take out a septic tank.
Repair a roof? Depends on what kind of tools I have. Yeah, that's a good question. I'd probably do the roof. I guess.
I loved when we had the apartments. I didn't do any of the work. Of course, my brothers and dad did the work. But
Sure.
I would like put my little scooter in the back of the truck, and then we go to the apartment, and I just ride my scooter around the apartments. And then we go to the gas station, and I would get a bug juice or whatever that
Oh,
was.
sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
I actually loved those days.
Yeah.
So I'm
And
sure
that-
people did.
when we had those apartments, they were filled with all retirees. So when we went over there with the kids and everything,
Oh, I
they just
bet they
loved
loved
it.
it.
You know, they look for every Saturday. That's what we did. We'd go over there and work on that apartment and everything. But you know, I was happy to get rid of that one. I was done with it. I was actually working in Chicago when I finally got that sold. So
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
that's a big
Yeah,
deal.
well, you've had a really well-rounded career with a lot of different,
Yeah.
and according to Noah, you can fix anything. So really, I mean, if Jimmy has somebody call off someday in facilities and they need someone to fix the toilet or need somebody to weld something back together, I think they've got their guy right up here. I think they could call you and you'd be able to fill right in.
It'd probably be a last resort, but in seriousness though, just having that experience, you know, repairing your own stuff. When Jimmy comes up here and tells me something, I can relate to what he's talking about. Because I've probably dealt with something similar.
Right.
Not to the size that we have here,
Right.
but I understand, like
Right.
when a breaker breaks or toilet goes out or
Yeah.
whatever, and I can follow that
Yeah.
stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely shaped your all those tools in your toolbox. Really, like you've got a lot of things you can relate to, and that all of that does make you a really great leader. So, do you have any one more question?
I guess, yeah. What do you want to do after retirement? Or in your retirement, what do you want to do?
In retirement, well, for one, I don't know when I'm retiring. I've given it a lot of thought. I enjoy what I do.
Yeah,
So-
and you're really good at it.
Well,
You're good at it.
I have a lot of passion for this place and want it to be successful. So I don't know when that end is, but it's out there at some point. I would, we still have the farm. There's a lot that we could do there. Still like to travel, things like that. Of course, now we have grandkids and all that. They'll be in events pretty soon, so
Sure.
probably start doing all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll stay busy. I'll have to do something, I just
Yeah.
I'm kind of like Dr. McPherson. I'll
Yeah.
have to do something.
Yeah, you have to.
I just won't be in this role all the time.
Yeah,
but I'll,
keep
I'll-
your brain
I'll
active.
Yeah.
keep something going there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to stay out of the house so I don't bug your mom.
Yeah, when you are home, you're always out in the shed or you're out in the garage.
That's by design. Right?
Yeah.
Mowing the yard. The yard doesn't need mowed, but I'm mowing it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
No, it's been a good career. It's taken a lot of different directions, but that's kind of the way healthcare is. We got to be able to pivot and figure out what the best avenue is to get to the goal,
Yeah.
whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we really appreciate the sacrifices that you've made along the way, and even during your time here, I know there were sacrifices that you made for the better of the organization, and we are all appreciative of that, and we recognize it. And I'm glad, I'm really honored to be able to sit here and be able to pull those stories out, and with Ashlyn's help, and I'm trying to think if there are any other topics that we didn't address. I guess we could still ask you what your walk-up song would be. You already mentioned
yeah.
what was that name of that song?
Whammer Jammer
Whammer.
by Jay Giles Band.
What in the world kind
You
of
have to Google it.
is that?
Lindsay's probably heard of it.
No.
The other one is Rebel Rouser by Dwayne Eddy. That's a perfect walk-up song.
All
You
right,
know,
all
but-
right.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's ever
Well,
a
I
time.
think another thing we should mention is that you're a very good sport when it comes to social media, specifically TikTok.
Yeah.
You have started some TikToks
Uh-huh.
on Ashlyn,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're a very good sport. I'm sure that it gets lots of views.
Oh, tons.
Tons of views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dad's weekend is coming up at Illinois, so I'm sure there'll be more.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
Yeah,
Right.
I already got. I'm already brainstorming.
Yeah,
Oh, are
so
ya?
subscribe, and follow Ashlyn on
Yeah.
TikTok.
Oh gosh.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And we'll be watching for new podcast merch. We've got some podcast merch that'll be coming out, and we're really excited about that.
Yeah,
And we're open to
That's gonna be exciting.
sponsorship.
This place is gonna blow up here.
Oh, it is.
gonna-
It's gonna be
huge. It's gonna be
huge. Well,
Anyway, I want to thank you too, Kim, for everything you've done for me. We've been through a lot, and we're still going, and
yep.
probably couldn't have made it without you. Whether I was griping about something, you're always there for me. You've always been supportive of everything we've done here, and of course, Ashlyn and my family, they've all been wonderful.
Yes, they.
I'm very proud of my family, and they're doing well.
Yes, they are, and they're very proud of you.
Yes, we
they're
are.
they're very proud of you.
When you get this old, you're not supposed to get emotional.
I think it's the opposite.
I know, right? I know, but
Well, that's okay.
yeah,
That's
it's
okay.
just
That's what
life's little quirks, I guess.
we're real. We're real people.
Yeah, right.
We're real people.
Yeah.
So, well, this has been fun, and
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for being here, and
Thank you.
the time. We'll see,
Thank you
how
for-
this turns out.
you
Yeah.
did a nice job staying in the passenger seat
Yeah.
and taking over,
Yeah.
and I think that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Buckle Up with Bill is an original podcast hosted by President and CEO of MDH, Bill Murdock. It is produced and recorded within the brick walls of McDonough District Hospital by Lindsay Douglas. Original music, logos, and production support by Kim Thorman. Physicians, providers, and staff appear on their own time, and no patient care time is sacrificed for production. Tune in next time for another episode of Buckle Up with Bill.